The 118 east sign, Desmond.
Yep, that's right, Pat. We're in Mission Hills now, eastbound on the 118 away from the 405. This is a motorcycle. There was a group of motorcycles that CHP caught, apparently possibly doing some street racing in the West Valley. They had as many as 15 bikes going triple-digit speeds, which is basically what we're going now. Wow, this is going to be tough for us to keep up with here eastbound on the 118. So there was a group of about 15 bikes, Pat, and then they all scattered. They singled out this guy and followed him. They actually lost him a couple of times, got him confused with some other motorcyclists in the valley, but fortunately, with the help of the helicopters overhead, they were able to spot him in Van Nuys off of the 405, actually off of Sherman Way and Van Nuys Boulevard, and chased him onto the freeway. So you see LAPD, their chopper overhead, struggling to keep up with this one as well. They've been trying to keep the spotlight on him. Obviously, it's been really hard for ground units to engage. And it looks like we're going to be going southbound on the 5 now, which is going to help us out because now we're going to have a tailwind. We were battling a pretty nasty headwind there, of course, with these windy conditions, but really, really fast, dangerous speeds here, Pat. These motorcycles, we know how fast they can drive in these pursuits. So here we go now in Pacoima, southbound on the 5.
Well, you know, so far it doesn't look like, well, he's running into just a little bit of traffic there. It looked pretty clear when you first came on with your report, Desmond. You know, I've seen a group of motorcyclists on the freeway before, and it's pretty frightening if you're on either side of them or they're behind you, and you hear this loud noise, and you don't know exactly what's going on, and you see these motorcyclists. You know, a lot of times I think just riding, maybe trying to go as fast as they can. Other times they look rather menacing if they come up behind you and, you know, sort of break off. I'm wondering what happened to the other group, or do we know that?
I think they all split up, and there was only, I believe, actually a CHP motorcycle was the first one to engage this, and obviously he kind of just had to pick his target. They all scattered, and for whatever reason, singled out this bike. But even the CHP motorcycle lost him for a second at the 405 101. He pulled some kind of maneuver and was able to get away from everyone, but they were able to spot him again, like I said, in surface streets in the Van Nuys area. And yeah, you're right, Pat. I think we've all been driving on the freeway, getting ready to make a lane change or something like that, and whoa, here goes a motorcycle, just comes flying up, you know, behind you. Sometimes we've seen them going, you know, over 100 miles an hour, come within a couple of feet of your rear view mirror or something like that. So it's always really stressful. And just imagine you're one of these truckers, and you know, you certainly hope that the trucker sees this guy coming flying by. You saw the unit there; they're trying to keep up, but obviously any cruiser, you know, as heavily modified as their vehicle is going to have a lot of trouble keeping up with just about any motorcycle because they're so light, and it doesn't take very much to propel when you have, you know, such a light vehicle. So we're headed towards Burbank. We may have some Caltrans work. I know there's been a lot of long-term Caltrans work going on in the Burbank area as they add carpool lanes. We'll see if there's any closure tonight, but you know, even though you're really quick and nimble on one of these motorcycles, all it takes is some kind of debris in lanes that you don't see until the last second. You know, and then he makes a turn too soon, and he skids out going 100 miles an hour. That's not going to end well. Or I mean, anything. There's debris all over LA freeways at any given time, and you know, it being nighttime makes it even harder to see. So look at these speeds. This is incredible. I can't tell you exactly how fast this guy's going, but I know we're way over 100 miles an hour. At times, I know that earlier in the pursuit they were up to 130 miles an hour. So this guy is really maxing out the speeds on this bike. They might just have to follow this one from the air unless they can get another motorcycle to come involved. But I don't think there's any CHP officer who's going to want to risk it himself going 130 miles an hour. So the safest thing at this point may just be to have a unit hang back and watch this guy from the air. Maybe he'll run out of gas. You know, the gas tanks on these bikes are not very big, even though they can still travel some distance because, you know, they do sip fuel even at high speeds. But, you know, most motorcycles only hold a couple of gallons of fuel. So we'll see how long this continues, but just so dangerous in the dark, flying by big rigs southbound on the 5 as we get into Burbank.
No question. And obviously those drivers out there are probably a bit nervous as well because they don't know exactly, you know, they can come up on either side of your vehicle and, you know, you can just hold on to the wheel and hopefully you don't swerve. Well, they're lighting him up now from the sky, that's for sure. I believe a modified Ford Cruiser can get up to what, 150, or am I wrong about that? I thought I read that somewhere as far as a police vehicle is concerned. That's some of the fastest speeds that they can go.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And we actually did have a short motorcycle pursuit. You may remember last week, Pat, that was down in Orange County where there were actually 2 people on the back of a motorcycle. And that cruiser was able to keep up with them. And I think that the passenger on the guy's back actually might have been his girlfriend or something, talked some sense to him, and he just willfully eventually pulled over. The cruiser did keep up with him the entire time. But, you know, when we start getting up above 130, it's hard to imagine, you know, CHP wanting to be on the road going that fast as well. I mean, all it takes is for this guy to try to make a lane change between 2 vehicles, and one of those cars tries to move over into his lane because they're not even going to see him coming, and this thing is going to have, you know, a terrible ending. So,
or even lose control.
We are hearing them talk. Yeah, right. He could lose control or have a tire blowout or something like that. So, yeah, we are hearing speeds of about 130 miles an hour on this one right now, Pat. So southbound on the 5 flying through Burbank. We'll be down at the 134 before you know it, and then we'll see if he's going to continue on the freeway either or on the 5 or the 134 or try to get back off of the freeway and see if he can attempt to ditch the police again. But they are keeping the spotlight on him now pretty aggressively, letting him know that they do have eyes on him from the air.
Yeah, and they know who he is. Well, possibly they know who he is because they have gotten close enough at one point, would you say, Desmond, where they were able maybe to get like pick up a plate or something like that?
I would think so. Yeah, we did see right near the beginning of where we picked this up, there was a cruiser that was behind him, and I know a motorcycle officer was behind him for a good stretch as well. So they may have been able to get that plate, and you know maybe they can just try to get this guy later. So he's all the way in the far right lane, but we'll see if he stays there. A lot of times these guys like to act like they're going to get off the freeway or make one of the interchanges, and then they get all the way over and look at that, crossing all lanes way over 100 miles an hour. Fortunately, we didn't have any road work tonight. That could have complicated things for him and everybody. Looks like Caltrans had the night off on that big project on the southbound 5, but he is continuing on the south 5 now as we go underneath the 134, and so we'll be headed towards Los Feliz and downtown LA.
And you know, again, look at that. He's got a pretty clear stretch. He's got a lot of the road to himself, but he keeps going, changing lanes, going across so many lanes. Looks like he's even picking up speeds now as we speak, Desmond. So I don't know how much this guy rides, and I'm assuming that it's a guy, but he really is taking a lot for chance right now because, as you mentioned, anything could happen in terms of him getting into you know, running into, not just running into someone, but hitting some debris on the freeways. And we know how California is good for having some, I call them leftovers on the freeway. Something has fallen out of the, the back of a truck or what have you.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we encounter it all the time. I mean, I talked about it, you know, for years on my traffic reporting days about, you know, obstacles out there you got to dodge. And a lot of times at night is when you encounter them, you know, big chunks of tire tread left over from big rigs that had tire blowouts, whole car bumpers, boxes, any number of things that could be in any stretch of the roadway at any point. When you're going this fast in the dark, even if you're going this fast in the daytime, there's just no way you're going to see that in enough time for you to get, you know, safely out of the way without wiping out. So this guy is really, you know, really playing with his own life more than anybody else's right now. I would think that even if he hit another vehicle, you know, it just being so light, I mean, he's definitely going to do some, but this guy totally risking his life to get away from the authorities now. Southbound on the 5, approaching the 2 freeway, and we'll see if he continues on this southbound 5, and then he'll be in Elysian Park and downtown LA, and then beyond that, the East LA interchange and beyond.
And you say actually you picked this up around the 405 and Sherman Way, around that area, and he has been continuing. He was on the 5 and then made on the 118 and then made the transition to the southbound 5 freeway, which is where he is now.
Yeah, that was actually after CHP found him the second time. This actually started in the West San Fernando Valley, we believe on the 101, maybe in the Woodland Hills area, Woodland Hills or Tarzana area, where the very first call we heard was 101 Balboa. So they were already in Encino, and we heard speeds of 115 miles an hour. by the time we were getting a visual of it, we were at the 101 405, and then that's when they lost him. And we got overhead, and then we had heard that they had found, they actually thought they had found the motorcycle on the freeway at first. That turned out to not be the right motorcycle, and then they found that they did find this guy after that, right around Sherman Way and Van Nuys Boulevard. And once they got the spotlight on him, the crazy speeds picked back up, and he got right back on the freeway. And so we've already covered a lot of ground here. Obviously, traveling at, between 100 and 130 miles an hour, we're going to cover a lot of miles.
Right, that he's still on the southbound 5, and we're wondering if he's going to make another transition. So he was off of Balboa on the 101 and made the 405 north to the 118 and now to the 5. And we only know where he could possibly end up, but they are still on him from the air. Makes you wonder, Desmond, how long they want to continue this. If it's as long as he is driving as fast as he is, how long they want to follow this person, because right now he's wanted for what? Certainly speeding and evading officers.
Yeah, and possibly for street racing. That was the initial call that we had heard. Was street racing in this one. And it is kind of complicated because one, you don't want this guy driving like this and endangering himself and everybody else, but at the same time you don't want to let him go either. So it's kind of like what call do you make here? If they had the license plate and they knew who this guy was, I would think that maybe they might have backed off at this point. But CHP, I can tell you from experience, they tend to be one of the more aggressive agencies, and they don't like to let things go if it's in their jurisdiction and they have any say on it. A lot of times we see that they will take it the duration. They'll switch out units if they have to. They'll switch out helicopters if they have to. They'll get help from other agencies. That's just speaking from personal experience. It's not to say that that's necessarily what's going to happen in this particular chase, but I've seen it many times. And again, I referenced that motorcycle chase that we saw last week because some other agencies, if they light, yeah, that was CHP as well. And if they light up a motorcycle and that guy takes off, goes over 100, 130 miles an hour, they'll just say, okay, cancel the pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw CHP in that one continue, and they did eventually get both of the people on that motorcycle, and we see them continuing here. And now we're southbound on the 5, so we're coming through the Eastdale interchange. This is where we transition from the Golden State Freeway to the Santa Ana Freeway, going underneath some overpasses. And this is where we meet with the southbound 101 and the eastbound 10. So now we are continuing into Boyle Heights and the City of Commerce and down towards the 605 freeway. One of the more congested stretches of roadway, even at this late hour. A lot of truck traffic. It's still going to be free flow, of course. It's not going to be jammed up or anything like that, but there are more likely going to be more just vehicles on the roadway here for him to zig and zag in between on this section of the 5 as compared to where he just came from.
Yeah, and we could see that from the shots that you've shown us, Desmond. He passed several trucks at one point and probably will run up on more. And just talking here, Desmond, all it takes too is for a motorist to make a jumpy move, just a swerve to the left or the right, and you've got some real